What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for a Tottenham update. And do we have an extensive update for you guys today? But first and foremost, let's go show some love to our sponsor, Stocks FC. Link in the description below, QR code on screen. If you use our link to sign up, you get 5 free loan players and you get to keep all the profits that that player makes for the loan duration. But let's look at our portfolio so far. We've got our stocks in all of our favourite Spurs players right now. With Spence on the rise, Romero on the rise, and Richarlison, our most profitable player out of everyone. Incredible. Which is quite surprising.
And Mateta, for having been booted in the head on the weekend, still in the green, which is really good. He's on great goal scoring form. The 2 guys we signed recently, Mamouche and Spence, both on the rise as well, and I'm sure it's only going to go up. But it's quite a few on the down at the moment. We need Ollie Watkins to start turning his form around. Well, he's not on bad form, is he? I don't know why he's down so much. Decky, Madison, Van der Ven on the cusp of return. Hopefully, they all start to rise soon.
Yeah, and that IPO for Martin Odegaard has officially ended, and there are 3 players about to have IPOs on the market as well, which will all be revealed in the coming days. But yeah, look, if you back your football knowledge and you want to get your stocks in specific players, head over to Stocks FC. There is money to be won, but yeah, it's just a bit of fun, guys. So don't put all your money in it. It's not a platform to make a second wage or anything, just a bit of fun, guys. So link in description below, QR code on screen, and let's get in to the Tottenham update. And we're going to start off talking about Fabio Paratici, as Tutto Sport says that a formal return to Tottenham Hotspur for Paratici is considered difficult. Paratici is thought to be keen on a return to Italy, with AC Milan interested, while he has held talks with other Premier League clubs.
Other Premier League clubs? So why would it be difficult for him to come back to Tottenham but not to go to another Premier League club?
I have no idea why, but that's the report.
I guess the only thing I can think of is it would be really embarrassing for Tottenham if it was to formally reinstate him and then something else was to happen.
Yeah, that's true, but the reality is, we all know, it's no secret that he's been working at Spurs ever since the ban.
Yeah, true. But behind the scenes, not officially. He's in what's called a consultancy capacity.
Yeah.
He's not officially making the phone calls. He's not making the phone calls on behalf of Tottenham. He's just asking questions.
Just putting the feelers out.
Putting the feelers out, exactly. Yeah, I probably think we won't formally reinstate him, to be honest. I think he probably, if he does continue work for Tottenham, it will be kind of what he's doing right now. I don't know. We
should formally reinstate him, though.
But what if they find out he's doing some more dodgy dealings? You know,
well,
he's this is something at Juventus that was happening over a lot of years, wasn't it? That he got convicted for. So I understand the hesitancy to kind of formally want to tie yourself again to that, when it was very embarrassing last time, because
it was.
Everyone knew he was kind of under investigation, and Tottenham hired him, and he ended up obviously getting found guilty of, I can't remember what it was at the time, but whatever it was. But everyone kind of knew it was coming, and Tottenham kind of went for it anyway. So if they do that again, it's a big risk PR-wise.
I guess the punishment has been had. I mean, the punishment was for that whole time he was at Juventus, and even prior to that, and after he left as well. So, I mean, are they really going to go and look into all of that again when he's already been punished for it?
Who knows? Depends what it is. I don't know how bad how deep it goes. You know what I mean? What if they start looking at his deals at Tottenham? Surely there's something wrong with that Brian Hill deal.
It's true. That Brian Hill deal was very
something
fishy.
dodgy there.
But 20 million for Brian Hill, plus throw in Lamela as well.
You telling me we got Galini because we thought he was a good keeper? No chance.
Regardless of that, man, just reinstate Fabio. That's
he's home. You don't need
reinstate.
He's
Fabio.
home. You know, you don't need to say any more. He's the least anyone knows, the better. All right, he's doing a fine job. Let him keep doing what he's doing.
Next up, we're going to talk about Romero, as Romero has been called up for Argentina's next round of international fixtures against Uruguay and Brazil later this month. As just like clockwork, Romero, an Argentina game comes around the corner, and Romero is back fit and called up for the international squad.
It's just for full clarification, it's a preliminary squad. It's not the full squad. So I guess we'll have to wait and see until they cut it. But of course, he's their best centre-back. You know, if he's a chance he's going to be available, especially got big games against Brazil and Uruguay, I'm sure they'll want him in the squad. It doesn't surprise me at all. Hopefully he can play some games for Tottenham. We've got 4 games before the international break, 2 in Europa, 2 in the Premier League. Hopefully he plays some games for us. But it doesn't surprise me because he's, you know, from Argentina's point of view, he's like their Van Dijk. He's their like biggest centre-back. He's the one who they all look to. He's been an ever-present in all their trophies they've won. In fact, a lot of Argentina fans put their success, a lot of it down to him in terms of how they got to where they are. So, of course, if there's any chance he's available and he's fit, and the talks are he's going to be fit very soon, and the international break isn't for another 3 weeks, I think, in the end of this month, near the end of this month, then it's no surprise that Argentina will put him in the preliminary squad just to see if he can make it, essentially.
Yeah, and it's also no surprise that he's been injured for so long and suddenly gets called up by Argentina. I mean, it's not the first time it's happened.
When did it happen before?
I'm sure it happened a couple of years back when he was injured leading up to an international break and got called up, and then even guys like Sean Butler were calling up here saying he doesn't prioritise Tottenham, he prioritises Argentina all the time.
Yeah, you're going to get that. And, of course, I'm sure he does care more about Argentina than Spurs. Why wouldn't he? He's clearly a very, patriotic guy. I think a lot of the Argentinians are. So, not to say that if he's fit for Tottenham and he's keeping himself Argentina, that's the right thing to do. Of course, if there's any evidence of that, then he should be called out on that. I don't think I've seen any of that, to be honest.
And on top of that, you know, didn't he go out there during COVID times and nearly got arrested on the pitch?
He did, yeah. That was during the World Cup qualification. And that actually prevented, I think, he had to go quarantine for 2 weeks after.
Yeah.
That was a complicated situation, but still, I was very critical of him at that time for doing that, because if that's the rules, and I know a lot of clubs at that time were stopping their players going abroad because of that situation. So I understand, but he's always if he's able to play for Argentina, he's always going to want to. That doesn't surprise me.
You think we're going to see him on Thursday night?
Well, Ange said before he's an outside chance, so I think definitely for Bournemouth. I think we'll see him.
Let's hope we can get a couple games out of him before the international break, before he gallivants across the world to South America. Another player we're going to talk about is Timo Werner. I mean, not going to dwell on this for too long. It's pretty obvious. But Ryan Taylor says that Tottenham will pass on the opportunity to sign Timo Werner permanently.
We'll pass. Thank you. We're okay. You sure you don't want to take up that?
Don't call us, Timo. We'll call you.
It's but the release clause is so cheap,
so inviting.
Exactly. What, 8 million or something?
Yeah.
Not even tempted a little bit, Tottenham. Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do. We know at this point he's been left out of the Europa League squad now. Clearly, I think the writing's on the wall for Timo. So I think if we could have, we would have cancelled his loan in Jan, but apparently, you know, things have prevented us from doing that. So
he hasn't scored a goal this whole year, has he?
He scored against City in the Cup.
Scored against City in the Cup. That's his only goal this whole season.
I think he's got more goal contributions last season than he has the whole of this season, probably.
Yeah. And on Richarlison, Ryan Taylor says that Richarlison's future with the club will also be reassessed ahead of the summer window, with Spurs planning to bring in fresh reinforcements in the front line, which is music to all our ears. I mean, I like Richie. I've always backed Richie, but the reality is we just can't keep him fit. I like his kind of attitude and application, but unfortunately, circumstances has led to probably the right thing to do is to let him go this summer.
I agree, and even if it means taking a big hit, which we're going to have to probably on how much we paid for him, I just think that's the reality of the situation. Even when he's been on the pitch, he's been pretty good. I don't think he's been like incredible, but he's been good, and he's been good enough to be shown that he's could be part of his squad. And I think as a backup striker, I think he has made a good impact. Even recently, when he came back from injury for that little spell, he was playing quite well, scored a few goals. But the guy can't stay a whole month fit. Like we can't keep him fit for any kind of extended period of time. And it's just when you're trying to fight for things and you're trying to have a consistent team and you're trying to have rotation, all these different things, you can't afford to have a player who's just you can't rely on, unfortunately. And I thought last season, I'm thinking, you know, give him another season to prove he can stay fit, because usually when he was at Everton, he was able to stay fit, and he was regularly playing 30 Premier League games a season. That ever since he's come to Tottenham, it's just gone all wrong for him, and he seems to be constantly injured. So, again, is it something to do with the medical team? Is it who knows? But we know that other players have complained about the medical staff, and other players have left Tottenham and who've had injury problems and stayed fit as well. So that has to be. We know big question marks have to be had, but in terms of for us and Richarlison, if we can upgrade on him and sell him in the summer, I think that's just the right decision.
Yeah, completely agree. Which would be a shame, but I do think like from a purely quality perspective, I do think we can get better as well. I think for the money that we paid, I don't think maybe even the return on the pitch has been good enough.
Yeah, probably right about that. I don't think he's done badly, but yeah, I don't think he's proven his worth, put it that way.
Let's talk about Bissouma, as Give Me Sports say that Bissouma will be allowed to leave Spurs in the summer transfer window and is attracting interest from Marseille, Nice and Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is an interesting one. Would you have a deal for Adam Wharton?
I'll take that in a million. I'll take that every day. I love Adam Wharton. I think he's brilliant, but I think he can do better than Palace, to be honest. I think decent teams will be looking at him. I think he's a good player. I think he's... his problem isn't quality. Obviously, we know it's consistency and also, making errors in bigger games. That's what's happened to him. Obviously, Marseille is an interesting one because they take a lot of cast-offs in the Premier League, haven't they? De Zerbi's kind of built a team of players who've been casted off. I don't think De Zerbi ever had him at Brighton, did he? I think he was only under Potter. But I think if you
looking to reform the glory days of Højbjerg and Bissouma in the middle part,
never really got a partnership going, unfortunately. Marseille, Palace, and who?
Marseille, Palace, and Nice.
And Ndombele and Bissouma partnership.
Ndombele can't get on the pitch anymore for Nice.
I would say, I don't know if he moves to the Premier League. I reckon he will go outside of England. Sorry, but Marseille. I think I like the sound of that. I think that could be a good fit for him. But I don't know if he'll go to Palace. Maybe.
It depends if they get a big bid for Adam Wharton, because we know like Palace do sell their, like a nice sale, don't they, for big money? So they're more or less a selling club.
They're open to it.
If a big offer comes in for Wharton, they'll be definitely in the market for a centre.
Well, you say that actually. Zaha they held on for a long time, didn't they? And Olise had a release clause. Guehi, they've been able to hang on to for now anyway. I know they rejected that bid for Tottenham in January, so they're not like the most selling club in the Premier League. But I think they're always open to offers. Yeah. But Wharton as well, you could say, he's had injury problems since he's gone to Palace.
Was it? Yeah, he's just come back from an injury. How much? Yeah. How much? Apart from that, what else has he had?
No, but this one he came back initially. I remember because at the beginning of the season, one of his first starts was against Tottenham when we played him. We played them and they beat us. And then after that game, he picked up another injury and was out for a few months. So his season has been plagued with injury.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his injuries. I mean, it says here he's had one injury that kept him out for 17 days, and that's the only injury he's had in his career.
17 games.
17 games.
Yeah. Well, definitely at the beginning of the season, I'm pretty sure he was injured as well, was he not?
I don't know. It says here he got injured 1st of November and returned 1st of Feb.
So it was a big one.
Yeah, long injury. But it's not like persistent injury problems throughout his career. It's just one injury that he's had. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about Johnny Cardoso off the back of that brilliant performance for him against Real Madrid. A Spanish publication called Motoclísimo says Tottenham have now placed Johnny Cardoso at the top of their wish list this summer as they look to strengthen their midfield option. Cardoso did play 90 minutes and scored for Betis against Real Madrid at the weekend in a top performance from him. We all know that Spurs have got the option to sign Cardoso in the first 2 weeks of the summer transfer window for a fairly modest fee of someone of that quality, and I just hope we go and push the button on it.
Yeah, I think he's really developing nicely at Betis this season. I read another report from, I think it was from Sport out in Spain, saying Tottenham want Cardoso to be their Rodri. So maybe there's talk of how highly he's thought of. Clearly, I think when it comes to his ability in that centre of the park in terms of the ground he covers, the amount of tackles he makes, it's very, very impressive. I was looking at some of his numbers, though, when it comes to how he plays the ball forward and stuff like that. He seems to do. He does seem to keep it safe a lot. Doesn't seem to be a midfielder like Rodri who consistently plays line-breaking passes, and that's something he's going to have to kind of improve. But what he is very good at, he's a very good ball carrier, likes to dribble in the middle of the park. I was watching his individual highlights of in the weekend, and he was taking on the Madrid central midfield in a very brave way, in dangerous circumstances, and dribbling his way out of trouble. So this guy is clearly fearless. He's can play a very high level. He's already played very well, not just against Madrid, also against Barcelona, also against Atletico. He's had top performances, and he's still, I think, only 22. So got a big future ahead of him. I think we could be getting him at a very good time, and it looks like he's developing very, very well. But I don't think people should expect us to sign him and him being the finished article.
How old's Rodri now?
Rodri is what, 30?
30.
Or
I mean,
29?
because with Rodri, right, like this, with the asset that he has in terms of what you're saying with the ball playing going forward and stuff, I feel like he's developed that a lot over the past 2 or 3 years. And did he have that at that age at 22?
Yeah, I don't remember how good he was at 22. Rodri's just a freak, though, isn't he? He's just so good at everything. It's incredible. The guy last season got 20 goal contributions. It was something insane.
But last year was the peak season of his career. He's been building up to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So of course, when players at that age, they can still improve. I'm just saying, you shouldn't expect Johnny to come in and. If I know, my point being, Tottenham said they want him to be their Rodri, but you got to give him time to develop into being that good of a player. My point is, you don't expect him to come in and be as good as because everyone's saying, oh, we need a monster six, we need a Rice and a Rodri, and this guy could be it, but don't expect him to be that straight away.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Another CDM that Spurs are linked with is Morten Hjulmand. Ekrem Konar says that Morten Hjulmand is on Tottenham and Manchester United's list for targets in the summer. Look, a very good player, obviously at the heart of the Lisbon midfield at the moment, but he does have an Arsenal tattoo, and I'm always going to mention that when we're linked with him.
Yeah, I don't know about Hjulmand as well. I think in terms of how he plays, quite slow, I feel. He is very good positionally, and he's very good technically, and he is a strong midfielder, but I don't know if he fits as our number 6, if that's what we're looking for. I guess it depends if we change our manager in the summer and, if we go for a 3-4-3. Maybe that's the formation he's been used to playing, but right now I think the number 6 that we play, with the amount of ground they have to cover, I don't know if he's the guy.
Yeah, I do see him kind of going to a Manchester United more than us, because obviously he played under Amorim at Sporting. Amorim got the best out of him, just like a Ugarte. So I see that one probably being more potential than a Spurs transfer, to be honest. Another one is Davide Frattesi. I mean, this Roma just never seems to be going away. For the past year, or maybe even longer, Spurs have just been linked with Frattesi. Inter Live saying that Tottenham are hopeful of signing Frattesi for 25 million this summer.
25 million? Cheap for a player of his quality, to be fair. It's a good deal.
Can't get in the Inter side, though.
Yeah, I think when I look at Inter, it's hard to see where he fits, because they got Çalhanoğlu, they got Barella, such good players in the middle of the park. So I understand how he struggled, but for us as well. I mean, I like him, but is he going to block the pathway for people like Bergvall? Would I rather give Bergvall that kind of position where they're quite similar? So we've also got Decky, we've got Maddison in the middle. So I don't know if Frattesi. I mean, it is a good deal. But I guess he'd be maybe taking Sarr's position, but I want Sarr to develop as well. So I don't know. I don't know where he fits. He's definitely not a 6. So
yeah, I just don't see the need for someone like Frattesi. I really don't. We've got such good up and coming players coming in the central midfield, and the development of all these players is looking so good at the moment. And we don't even mention Archie Gray in that as well, because that is his natural position where Frattesi probably naturally plays as well. So. Look, we've got so many players up and coming, and Pape Sarr, I mean, you would say in the second half of the season, he's gone a bit stagnant, to be honest, but we all know the qualities that Pape has, and I think he showed it when he came on in the last game as well, how important he was for us. So I think we've got bundles of talent in the number 8 position. I just don't think it's a position that we need to be targeting and strengthening this summer with the gaping holes in, the forward line, the number 6, and in defence to a certain extent. We should leave our number 8 position alone, in my opinion. Next up, we're going to talk about Antoine Semenyo, as there's a report here that says that Tottenham are set to revive their interest in signing Antoine Semenyo, the Bournemouth player, this summer. He is a player that we have been linked with in the past. I think last summer we were linked with him, and there was some. I love Semenyo as a player, and I think he would fit right into what we're trying to do here.
Me too. I think he's really taken his game on at Bournemouth as well. Seems to be improving year on year. Last year, I think he started the season well, but then fell away a bit near the end. But this season, he's been super consistent. I think every week he seems to be a massive threat, and his goal contributions are ever increasing. He also plays in a very high pressing system where he works hard, does a lot of running. That would suit us to a T as well. So I really like. Also, very versatile. Can play on the left, can play on the right. Can even play the 10 sometimes as well. So if we could get a deal done for Semenyo, it would be great. But I think his stock is very high at the moment. I think there'll be a lot of talk about him. So I wouldn't be surprised if the fee is probably maybe excessive.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to think about what kind of fee they would accept for him, because obviously we got Dom Solanke off them for 60 million last summer. I'll probably be shocked if it was anything less than that.
Yeah, I think, especially you're talking about Premier League clubs nowadays. They're not. I don't think they're like desperate for the money. I know Bournemouth as well, similar, to other clubs. They will be interested in selling if they can. That's kind of built in their model to sell and reinvest it. And they've done a brilliant job with that with Solanke and getting Evan Nilsson, and that seems to be a really good move for them. So I wouldn't be surprised they're open to selling him. But yeah, it's going to take at least 60, probably 55, 60 million, something like that.
Fijajes, everyone's favourite publication, say that Arsenal, Tottenham, Napoli and AC Milan are all interested in the deal for Ferran Torres, and Barcelona have set a £33 million asking price.
30 seems pretty cheap.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, he just hasn't done it. I don't think he's ever got more than 10 goals in a season.
No, and he also has a few injuries as well. He kind of flattered to deceive when he was a Man City. It wasn't bad, but kind of flattered to deceive a bit. Yeah, I think I like him. I think he would be a good squad player, but I think he needs to be somewhere where he's the main player. And I think that's kind of where he's at in his career. He's 25. And I think if we would sign him, I think maybe we would market it as him being this like star winger signing, but I don't know if he's that good that he would be who we want him to be kind of thing. But he would be kind of a good squad player if we had better players in that position.
I mean, when he was at Man City, obviously he was pretty young, but I think he was very hit and miss at Man City, wasn't he? 'Cause sometimes he would come on and really stand out and do well, but the other times he would just flatter to deceive a little bit. So at that point in time, he was pretty inconsistent. He's gone to Barcelona, and again, he hasn't really pulled up any trees.
No, he hasn't been terrible, I feel like, but he hasn't. You got Yamal, you got Rafinha there. Yeah, and it's a hard job getting in that team, and he just hasn't been able to do it.
Yeah. A player called Andre Ratiu, Bleacher Report, saying that Tottenham are eyeing a move for Ratiu. The defender has been a mainstay for Rayo Vallecano this year, who have been La Liga's ultimate surprise package this season. But aside from Tottenham, even fellow Premier League club Brighton and Hove Albion are interested in securing La Liga's fullback services. But the worry for Spurs is that Barcelona have already held a meeting with his representatives about signing him. He has a release clause of 25 million euros in his contract. And Mundo Deportivo also say that Tottenham have joined the race with Brighton to sign Romanian right-back Andre Ratiu from Rayo Vallecano. It's an interesting one because his stats actually look quite favourable for an attacking right-back in this potential system. With a fairly modest release clause of 25 million euros, I think this is one that Spurs will definitely be looking at. He was a standout for Romania in the Euros that had just gone a year ago, and he's that guy that had the dyed blue hair and look, very different system playing in the Romanian backline than it is playing in the Spurs backline. But
as Dragoshin has found.
Yeah, as Dragoshin has found. But I think Rayo Vallecano also play quite an attacking system as well. So he does play an attacking system week in, week out. And Vallecano, I think, are in the top 7, top 8 in La Liga, doing really well this season. So yeah, I think this one could be a potential if we can get ahead of Brighton and potentially Barcelona.
But we have Spence and Porro. Is there
yeah, but that's the thing. I think that if we do sign him, then Spence will be more of the competition with the doggy.
Yeah, I'd rather just sign left back and keep Spence and
I don't think Spence has done brilliant there, though, at left back.
He's done very well, but I still want to see him more right back. I think he's more comfortable there. I know he's done a brilliant job at left back. I don't think that means he's now a left back, though. It means he can just play both, which is great, but I still think he's a natural right back. And I think he's been doing a job there, don't get me wrong, and I think he's been a great job. But I'd rather sign a more natural left back and then have Spence competing on his natural side rather than just saying, okay, he's done well there, so now he's a left back. I think that'll be a mistake.
I think, like, with the time he's had there, he's actually looked like, as time has progressed, he's just learnt that role so well. And he seems to be growing and growing and growing in that left-back role. And I know, we were talking about this in the panel show a few weeks ago, like the sample size of him at right-back isn't that big, so it's not the fairest comparison. But actually, in recent weeks, when he's played at right-back, when he's played at left-back, he's looked better at left-back than right-back. Yeah,
I think he needs to spend more time playing his more natural position, but I think... especially the Ipswich game, he looked a bit better left when he moved over to the left than he was on the right. But I also see when he's getting to the final third, and unless he's on the bit of the inside, if he ever goes on the outside and he's on the left and he's at left back, he does seem to struggle a bit. Doesn't want to use his left foot that much. I feel like when he's going to the byline on his right foot, he looks a lot stronger, and I want to see him more there. So for me, if I was to choose signing a right back or a left back, and somehow I'll choose signing a left back. That would be my choice.
To be honest, I wouldn't even mind which one we go for. If they think Spence is going to be a long-term left back or whatever, I'm happy for us to go into this window signing either a left back or a right back. It wouldn't bother me either way too much. And we do have another one here. Bleacher Report are saying that Tottenham, Liverpool, Man City and Chelsea have all joined the list of European top clubs chasing 21-year-old Senegal forward Lamine Camara of Monaco. He's played 20 games for Monaco this year, mainly as a sub, I think, but 2 goals, 6 assists. Another one that has been brought through by Metz, a bit similar to Pape.
I think, again, when it comes to forwards, obviously we know Richarlison looks like we want to sell him, but a lot's going to depend on how Tell does over these next few months, and if he really develops into a player that we look like we want to keep long term. At the moment, the jury's probably out on him. He's not done too well, but he scored a goal and he's shown flashes. So obviously, I think it's way too early to say he's not good enough. But as well, if the season ended tomorrow, would we sign him? Probably not. So he's still got to prove. We wouldn't spend that 60 million on him if the season ended tomorrow. So I think he's still got to prove that he can be a long-term option right now. And I think on that basis, I don't know if obviously, you have to look at other forwards because in case it doesn't work out, you've got to have kind of contingency plans. But I think all depended on how Tell does, I think.
It's interesting, actually, because the report called him a forward, but then I'm looking at where he's actually played, and it's actually centre mid. So it looks as though he's not going to be coming in to replace Matisse Tell. It looks like he's more of a defensive midfielder.
Lamine Camara. Well, he's got a good goal scoring record for a defensive midfielder, that's for sure. Well, if he's a midfielder, then that's a different case. Yeah. That's
where he's been deployed for Monaco this season. He's played...
Monaco have done very well this season.
Yeah, 8 games in centre mid and 9 games as a 6 in DM.
Seems to make a lot of tackles, I can see.
Yeah.
So maybe it's one we look at if we don't not go for Cardoso.
Yeah. It's very interesting. 21 years of age from Senegal, so not a forward. He is a central midfielder. But that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought to you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come